Hello, my name is Antonio Melendez, and this is my week 4 video. I'm going to be explaining how a linked list works with a stack and a queue. First, I'm going to focus on the stack. We must remember that the stack uses a principle of last in and first out. The first operation we're going to do is we're going to add an item to the stack or push an item to the stack. For this, we're going to add a new node. The node uses a next pointer and a previous pointer. We have to check that the pointer or the next pointer points to the current top node of the stack. The time complexity for this would be a big O1 time complexity because we're just adjusting the pointers. We're not traversing through all the items in the stack. The next operation is going to be pop or removing an item from the stack. For this, we check if the top pointer or we update the top pointer to point to the next node in the stack or in the list. The time complexity for this would also be a big O1 time complexity because we're just updating the pointers. The third operation is going to be get top or return the top item without removing it. For this, we just simply have to return the data of the node at the head of the list or at the top of the list. The time complexity for this would be a big O1 time complexity. And finally, we have to check if it's empty, if the stack is empty. For this, we just have to check if the top pointer is equal to none, indicating that the stack is empty. The time complexity for this would be a big O1 time complexity. Now I'm going to explain how the linked list works with a queue. Now for the queue, we have to remember that the queue uses a principle of first in and first out. Okay, for enqueuing or adding an item to the queue, we have to create a new node and we add it to the tail of the linked list. If it's empty, we have to remember to update both the front and the rear pointers to point to this new node that we just created. The time complexity for this is going to be a big O1 time complexity because we're just adjusting the pointers. Number 2 is dequeuing. The second operation is dequeuing or removing an item from the queue. For this, we have to check the front pointer. The front pointer has to be updated to point to the next node. If the queue for some reason becomes empty, then also the rear pointer should be updated to none because the list is now empty. The time complexity for this would be a big O1 time complexity. And now we go to the third operation, which is getting the size of the queue. This one's a little bit more complex because now we have to traverse the list from the head all the way to the tail. And this takes time because the time complexity for this would be a big O(n) time complexity, n indicating the number of items or elements in the queue or in the list. And finally, the fourth operation is to check if the queue is empty. For this, we just check if the front pointer is equal to none, indicating that the queue is empty, and the time complexity would be a big O(1) time complexity. Thank you and have a wonderful week.